All-Star?
You know it.
Well, Saturday at the one and only Dre's Beach Club on the Las Vegas Strip, you can join Ty Dolla $ign, that dude Marcellus Wiley, and the entire Speak For Yourself crew at the pool party of the summer. For tickets or more information, visit dre'sgroup.com.
You don't want these problems, right?
They do want these problems.
Gotta watch Whit.
Welcome back. Whitlock and Wiley. TJ Houshmandzadeh and Sean Merriman are back. Let's move to Cleveland, where Baker Mayfield is looking to build on a strong rookie campaign that gave Browns fans their first hope in years. In a new profile by Mina Keems of ESPN, the outspoken quarterback addressed his many public feuds with doubters and critics like former coach Hugh Jackson and our boy Colin Cowherd, saying, quote, "There comes a time when I'm going to have to block that out. You've got to find your own motivation." All right, you guys believe right move for Baker to change his motivation?
I think it's smart to change. This is a guy who likes to stir the pot, but as a franchise quarterback, a term he loathes, he really doesn't want to be termed that, but he's now starting to embrace what that means as one of the faces of the league. When you stir that pot, you got to realize what you're stirring is for everybody to eat. And some players don't want the pot stirred. There are some kind of mindsets in that locker room. They don't want all the noise and smoke. They just came here to ball out. They don't want all the issues and the distractions and the things that motivated you fully is not the same thing that's going to work for them. So as being a leader of a team, knowing that they really have contending aspirations, it's time to chill out. Get your motivation somewhere else.
I don't like it.
You don't?
I don't like it. I don't change. You know, Baker, don't change, because that's what got him to this point. If you look at his history and where he's come from, what he's had to do to even get into college, his college career and all the talks and everything he had. Walked on twice. He's where he's at because of everyone talking to him, overcoming everything that everyone has always said about him. So if that was your motivation to get there, that should be your motivation to keep going. You know, the guys in the locker room are going to feed off of your energy, and his energy is always, I'm going to prove you wrong. I wouldn't stop that now. I would keep going. Have that to fuel you for 10 to 15 years. We talked about some of the greatest players, Kobe and all these, players who just convinced themselves every single time they stepped on the court or a guy to step on the football field that they have somebody against them. I got to overcome this. That's his personality, and his team is going to feed off of it, and they're going to need it.
He can still, excuse me, he can still use this as his motivation. He just doesn't have to lash out publicly with it. Because if you read there comes a time when I'm gonna have to block it out. You're never gonna block it out because that's who he is. He can try. Yeah. He's never gonna that's his DNA. That's how he's wired. Now, just don't come outwardly with it and say, oh, Colin Cowherd is a clown. Yeah. I mean, you can think that can still be your motivation, but you don't have to outwardly say that. He's not gonna change. That's who he is, and that's why he's in the position he's in, is because, oh, I had to walk on. Y'all didn't think I was good enough. I'm going to prove it to you. Oh, y'all didn't think I was good enough to be the first pick. All right, here you go. Oh, y'all didn't think I can play. I shouldn't have been the first pick. Look what I did as a rookie. Use that as motivation. You just don't have to outwardly say it and show it.
TJ, you made my point exactly, and I agree with you and Sean in terms of I think it would be a mistake to change, but you don't have to, because I literally, this is a big flaw of mine throughout my 20s, 30s, and 40s. I used to think it was a badge of honor to tell everybody exactly what I thought. And then I realized it's one of the dumbest things you can do. You can't tell everybody exactly what you think. So he can keep this motivation. It's just how he channels it, funnels it, and uses it is the key. And so I got rabbit ears just like this dude. I pay attention to everything that's said. I finally have figured out, and it used to serve me well as a journalist, like, man, Whitlock's the most honest dude in the history of newspapers. And then I realized, well, that's not always the greatest thing. Letting everybody know exactly what you feel about everything, it's not smart. And so he's got to be smarter.
Look, Grandma told me a long time ago, don't let your left hand know what your right hand's doing. So think about it. Like, everything I'm thinking, it's over here, not for you. And I like him changing it. Now, we could get into an argument if it's just privately or not, but he's going to make a change, regardless if it's just privately or not. We're not going to see the same Baker Mayfield in terms of makeup. And that's so smart. It shows his growth. It shows his maturity, his evolution. You can't play the same song and expect the same results. I love when I hear a narrative, everyone's like, I did it for the naysayers. You a damn lie. It's a good story to say, but ain't nobody getting out of the bed because somebody hates them. You get out of bed because you love what you're going to go do. And then when
That's
you finish, you can sit there and point at people and be like, I told you so. But Baker is no longer the walk-on at a college. He's the #1 overall pick for a franchise and quickly become the face of that franchise and one of the faces of the NFL. I'm a DJ. You can't play the same song over and over again. That dance floor would thin out.
Walking out.
His motivation will start to thin. You have to reinvent your motivation and reinvent the way you're going to do it.
Yeah, but why, if I was them, why change? Right? That's who they drafted. They drafted him because he had this attitude. They knew that.
Nah.
No, what else you draft Baker Mayfield #1?
He can throw the ball. He's a hell of a competitor.
He can play, but also, when I talked about earlier, look at the characters and the personalities and the confident guys they brought in this locker room. This whole team is built now on guys like Baker Mayfield. You brought in Odell. You brought in Juice Landry. You brought in Kareem. You brought in attitude in this locker room. Why would you change at this point?
Because you can keep that attitude in the locker room, but it can stay in the locker room.
Right.
Again, that's what I think. It's like he can get in the locker room, man. Colin Cowherd and Whitlock think we ain't going to do this or do that, blah, 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 blah. But he doesn't have to go on Twitter and every place else and conduct public feuds.
We all mature. Yeah. We all mature as we age and we get smarter. And your reaction to things differently in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, and 50s, or whatever it may be. He's going to mature, so of course he's going to change. But that part in him is not going to change as long as what I said earlier. I'm not going to say anything, but that's going to be in the back of my mind that whatever you said about me, and it's what you said. I might not even say, look at me, but I'm going to just do an interview and just let you know I know what you said.
I heard that.
And you know who I'm talking to. And so little things like that, you have to have that type of motivation. But if you don't have the motivation to be great, it doesn't matter. So you're doing it for yourself so that you can show people that doubt you. Here you go.
And that's why I wanted to make sure that we know in priority it's for you and your love, not for no naysayers and the hate. People always love that story as
If
fans.
it's for everybody else, you're not going to make it. It's going to die down. That flame is going to burn out.
Exactly. And you know who comes to mind? Jim Harbaugh. In the sense of the story of Jim Harbaugh. People said that story works better in college than it does in the pros. He burned through the college players and the turnover, and you don't become white noise. It reminds me of Baker Mayfield. Like, if you come in here with all that angst and all that, I'm going to get you, it works for a minute, and then if you don't have that turnover in that locker room, you got veterans in there, you got grown men in there. They ain't trying to hear all that smoke all day. They trying to go to the work.
I think you're making an excellent point, Marcellus, in terms of, hey, Baker Mayfield in college football is great and it's fine, but that's a nice little story. In college, that's a local story. Now you come to the NFL and all your feuds are a national story, and they become issues where your teammates have to answer questions about it as well. So I think the Browns organization is like, hey, Bake, man, we love the fire, the passion, the and all that. But we don't want to be drowned in your smoke. There's a bunch of other guys in this locker room. In college, you were so much better than everybody else, but we got Odell Beckham Jr. now. And if you start stirring up all this smoke, Odell's personality is, well, let me start a fire. And now it becomes a competition of guys starting fires. All right, coming up, the old face trend has been cracking us up all week. See what happens when we give ourselves